Hi, sweeties. How are you doing? Welcome to Nayasim. Thank you so much for the support. Hope you are good. So, I came across a video where a white woman whose father is conservative, she is trying to convince the father that systemic racism exists, right? And then in the end, she feel like she did not do well enough, or she was not able to convince the father. And what I am going to say is that first of all, you have to know you want to sell a market or a brand, you have to know the brand very well in order to be able to speak on it. There are so many ways you can do that. You do that reading black books or also listening to black women, because you cannot go out and talk jargons and you want somebody to believe what you are saying. You have to be sure that what you are saying is black people's experience. Now, so I am going to ask this: why is it that white people think uh, um, black people, because now they call black people liberals, black people can be racist towards them. This is something that I really do not understand who told them this, and they are running with it, right? The fact that the most majority of them sit comfortably with a white person or sit comfortably with themselves, and just for no reason start talking about black people for no just reason. You can imagine me getting into a taxi, and the first thing I start doing is start talking. Why are you even doing that? That shows the obsession. Let's get into this video.
Oh, liberals and black people just assume that all white people like me are racist, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, and they are absolutely right to do that. Do you want to know why? Because a white person will see the color of my skin as another white person and immediately assume that I am a safe spot for casual racist commentary. My roommate had an Uber driver yesterday that he's had a handful of times. But yesterday, on this particular drive back to our house, this Uber driver started making casually racist comments about police brutality being warranted against the black community. To be clear, that is racism. And mind you, this man has no interest in reading books about political policy within the past 60 years. He has no interest in learning about statistics. He has no interest in learning about systemic racism or systemic issues in general. He has no interest in doing that. He has no interest in learning about how enslaved people were supposed to receive reparations. And I believe it was Andrew Johnson that said we were going to do that, but now we're not going to. And then came Jim Crow and black code laws. He has no idea that a white man with a criminal record is like 10 times more likely to get a callback interview than a black man without a criminal record. Most white people do not care to learn. And so they say racist shit in front of other white people because they assume that our skin color is a safe space for casual racism, not realizing that the government has created the conditions of poverty in which black people live in. That the government has created the conditions in which black people are funneled in and out of the prison system like a revolving door. Most liberals and leftists and black people might think that most white people are racist, and that is completely warranted, because most white people will see another white person and feel immediately comfortable spouting casually racist comments as if they're going to get immediate approval for those comments.
I talked to my conservative father for 8 hours straight today about politics, and here are some things that we talked about that he didn't know, had no knowledge of, or had very little knowledge of before the conversation. Intersex people. Microaggressions and the subtlety in which they show up. the fact that women could not have their own bank account without a man on it until the 70s. Kind of anything to do with Jeffrey Epstein and what he did and has done. Colonialism. Like, I think he understood colonialism on like a theoretical level. What else? Oh, that Marvel movies are military propaganda. He doesn't believe that one, and I'm gonna have to find him proof, he says. Project 2025, he heard of very briefly, like once or twice here and there, but he knows that Trump has denied that he supports it. So yeah, these are the main ones. Please no hate in the comments to my father or to any, like, just conservatives in general. I don't want hate talk about how, like, they're stupid. The point of me making this video is to let people know that a lot of the, like, hatred is fueled just, like, purely by a complete lack of understanding and lack of communication. And the people that believe this stuff are caught in a rhetoric loop of their own making. So you might be the only person that is going to give them that information. Like, truly, I'm one of the only people in my dad's life that I think will give him that information and break it down to him in a way that, like, at least I'm trying to make it make sense. And I'm like, we didn't get very far. And like, we did not, I wouldn't say that the conversation, like, I didn't sway him necessarily. I think I taught him, hopefully, like, a few new things. I don't know if he believed me, but, like, I feel like it's important to at least have these conversations and to, like, try and, if you have the capability, like, if you have the mental, like, if you're, like, I usually end up crying in these conversations and screaming, but today I didn't cry. I only yelled a couple times, so I'm, like, pretty proud of myself. But yeah, I don't know, guys. We got to talk to people, because some of these people are living in a narrative of propaganda that they've been living in for their entire life, and that, like, you don't just wake up from that, and you don't flip the switch in one conversation. So yeah, I'm just mainly saying all of this to make myself feel better. Love you all. If anyone has tips onto how to make someone believe in systemic racism, I would love some tips, because I've been trying to work on that one for, like, years, and it's not hitting. It's not. I need help. Guys, I need help. I need help on how to convince someone that systemic racism exists. I'm not doing a good enough job of explaining it. Please.
Let's talk about a lie that a lot of racists pass down to their children. That slavery wasn't that bad, and that some slaves were treated as family. Let's just be real. You don't love somebody that you chain, beat, rape, and force to work for free. You don't call someone family while selling their children downriver or whipping them for learning how to read. This lie is one of the most disgusting attempts to rebrand generational torture as something gentle and noble. But the truth is, slavery was not a job. It's not a cultural exchange. It was a system of violence and exploitation built to dehumanize Black people and build white wealth. Like family is code for, we abuse them with just enough kindness to make ourselves feel less evil about it. So why do they keep telling us this lie? To erase guilt, to avoid responsibility, to protect the myth of white heroism. Because if slavery was just bad and not evil, they don't have to deal with what's owed. No reparations, no accountability, no reckoning, just let's move on. But we can't move on while the lies are still being taught. We can't heal if the truth keeps getting buried. If slavery wasn't that bad, the Civil War wouldn't have been as bloody. If they were treated like family, why were so many risking death for a chance to escape? This lie ain't about history. It's about control. And we're done letting it slide. The second lie that racists pass down to their children is that America is the land of equal opportunity. Anybody can make it if they try. Sounds good on a t-shirt, right? But let's stop pretending that success in America is based on how hard you work. Because if that was true, Black people would be the wealthiest people on this land. Because we've been working the hardest for free for centuries. Let's just talk facts for a minute. Black families were systemically locked out of wealth by redlining, Jim Crow laws, and discriminatory hiring. Generations of Black veterans were denied GI benefits after World War II. Black farmers were pushed off their land by racist USDA practices. Public schools in Black neighborhoods are still underfunded, despite students and parents doing their best every single day. This lie is a setup because it basically tells poor white folks that if you're not rich, it's your fault. And then it tells Black folks that if you're struggling, you must be lazy. Meanwhile, the real game is rigged because the wealth is inherited. The doors will never open equally. It's not a race if one group is running a mile ahead and the other group is running barefoot through glass. I'm gonna tell you why they tell you this lie. To protect the myth of meritocracy, to blame the oppressed for their oppression, and the last one is to justify inequality without fixing it. Because technically, if everybody has an equal chance, then nobody has to look at who's still holding the keys. Opportunity in America isn't about effort. It's about access, connections, legacy, and systemic advantage. Hard work matters, but equal opportunity, that's still a dream, not reality.
I think it's so funny how some of these ex-racist, down low, white people are coming out acting like they're telling the truth on some of the people that look like them. Let me tell you what's really going on. See, I told you the mother is at play right now. Everybody must pay for what they have done, the karma. So the ones that are acting like, oh yeah, I'm letting Black people know what white people were doing. No, you're not. You were a part of the problem. Most of those people were a part of the problem. They knew about things that went on back in the days, and they said nothing. As a matter of fact, they went along with it. But now that they know that the time has come for everybody to pay, now everybody wants to point the finger and say, oh no, but they did this and they did this to Black people. But when it was going on, you didn't say anything, and you didn't do anything either. You watched it go on. But now that it's time to pay, everybody wants to point the finger. No, we don't need you pointing the finger. We need you to accept. We're not accepting no apologies, okay? We need you to accept your karma the same way that you did and do what you're supposed to do and go where you're supposed to go. Because if you are not on the right vibration, you are not going to be on this planet. And that's not a threat. That's just nature. That's just what the mother is saying. If you are not on a high vibration, or if you have been doing evil things, if you were a part of evil things years ago and you just got away with it, you are no longer going to get away with it. You cannot hide that sun anymore. That sun is going to destroy y'all.
I can't keep up. I've tried many times this year alone and I failed. So it's time I accept that I can't keep up. It's so many unbelievable things happening at once with the Trump administration and the federal government right now. I just feel like my fucking head is spinning. I don't know how Aaron does it or anybody that can stay on top of every headline that drops every single day. The way y'all do that blows my mind. I don't know if this is like your full-time job, but like this, politics isn't my sun up to sundown, you know what I'm saying? I pay attention to this shit as best as I can, and with the stress and fucking depression and anxiety that comes with reading headline after headline after headline, and then we're all just looking around like, another one? When does it stop? You know, it's hard not to get discouraged. It's hard not to be in this sense of hopelessness, you know what I mean? And I do think that myself and other creators and other Americans are feeling rather hopeless and discouraged when you're yelling about something for months, especially in this atmosphere when we're basically yelling for people to stop ignoring logic and history and facts. When you're yelling at somebody to stop ignoring logic and facts for months, and they seem to be the ones who are getting everything they want with their illogical perspective, that is wildly discouraging. And then on top of that, you're just hearing things about shit you haven't even been able to review yet. I heard they just set a bunch of food on fire instead of giving it to people who needed it? What the fuck do you mean you're burning food? For what? I've been screaming for months that Donald Trump and his administration are evil. They straight up burn food instead of giving it to hungry people. And then there are people who will still argue with me about whether or not they're evil or not. Evil people burn edible food instead of giving it to people who need the fucking food. That's not political. That's very simple, very basic. You can teach it to a fucking kid. You have innocent people in need that need fucking food, and then somebody ordered for that food to be incinerated. Who's the evil person? That, you get what I'm saying? But then when we argue that, and then when we see their cult leader do more and more un-American shit, and we see America become more and more of a fucking dictatorship. Just fucking news after news after news, loss after loss after loss. I don't know why we're all getting our hopes up about, oh, the Republicans are questioning Trump over the Epstein files. They gonna support that motherfucker no matter what. Epstein could still be alive. Epstein could be his vice president. They would find an excuse. Look at the way they push the goalpost now. Do you think that them not releasing the Epstein file is going to be the thing that breaks their back? Don't fucking lie to yourself, okay? But here's the thing. I say all this because here's the thing. When I think about, damn, I'm exhausted. Damn, I can't keep up with all of this. Damn, it just keeps going, keeps getting worse and worse. Damn, damn, damn. I remember that's the cost of something that's as beautiful as a free country and America. Not in America under this bullshit MAGA, make America great again, guys. It's just the dictatorship for the ultra wealthy. Fuck the minorities, the marginalized groups, anybody that we don't approve. You get what I'm saying? I've ranted about this shit enough, right? That's the cost. It was never easy. The life that you're used to in America, the privileges or the positives of the life you live in America, that never came about through easy means. Me as a black man, it wasn't just black people screaming, we don't want to be slaves anymore for half a year. And then boom, they're not slaves anymore. Hell no. So if we're sitting here saying, hey, this is some dictator, un-American, unconstitutional shit, birthright citizenship, literally in the fucking Constitution. What the fuck do you mean y'all having a conversation about it, right? This is not some half a year argue, complain, debate on social media type shit and you'll get your country back. It's not that simple. It was never that simple. You want a free America? You want a America you can be proud of? You want a fucking America that doesn't have concentration camps on it? Posting on this app ain't gonna make that happen. The little group chat where you talk shit about Trump all day, that ain't gonna change shit. How many people protested on June 14th? They announced Alligator Alcatraz shortly after. Them words ain't changing shit. But it's the consistency of it all that may lead to change. So if you're like me and you feel discouraged or overwhelmed or anxious or whatever it may be, understand that's the fucking cost. And it's pitiful if we sit here and let something like exhaustion or confusion or disbelief be the reason why we give up and fold over and just let the bullshit be the bullshit. If you have a headache like me, you're supposed to. America is losing its democracy. If you feel overwhelmed or anxious, you're supposed to. America is losing its democracy. If you feel like nobody is hearing your cries for help, you're supposed to. America is losing its democracy. And for people still looking to their left and the right going, how the fuck do y'all support this? Please keep in mind that every single citizen in Russia is not anti-Putin. There are people who are very glad that he's a dictator and they will see to it that he continues to be a dictator, just like in North Korea. So while we try to sound these alarm bells about dictatorship and shit like that, you have to understand that there are people that want Donald Trump to be a dictatorship and are a dictator and are doing everything they know to do to make that fucking possible. I just saw the video. I'll end it with this. I just saw the video, and this is fucking dangerous, right? I just saw the video of Mike Johnson, who I think that when it becomes possible, he needs to be fucking arrested for treason against America or whatever the fuck it is. He's in front of the whole country talking about how Trump is such a great man and the Democrats broke the law as they prosecuted him. It's incredible to me how they'll say that every other system that was against Trump is corrupt because he couldn't have possibly broke the law. Maybe they did all that shit because he's an whatever. Different TikTok. Not going to get started on it, okay? He said, oh, all the Democrats tried to break the law and swindle the system to arrest Trump, and he beat that. And then he had multiple assassins, and it was through God's divine intervention that he survived to save America. This is from Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House. Third most powerful person in the country, right? Third most powerful country. Speak, motherfucker. Third most powerful person in the country. Saying that God divinely intervened so that Trump could be the president and lead America. This is a cult mindset. When you say that the president was chosen by God and you look at him as if he is some grand demi-messiah, whatever the fuck, and that even if you don't understand what he's doing, you shouldn't question it because God chose him, that is a dangerous cult mentality. When they start using shit like divine intervention and God's chosen one and shit like that, that is when you fucking box up MAGA and say y'all are a fucking extremist cult-like party that thinks that this man was chosen by God, and that's why y'all just push the goalpost everything, because God definitely wanted there to be alligator Alcatraz. So yeah, I'm fucking exhausted. I'm fucking discouraged. I'm still in fucking disbelief that shit like this is what we have on display for the American government. But I'm gonna go pop my little ibuprofen and keep doing my fucking part so that hopefully one day we can put this behind us and it'll just be another fucked up part of American history.
This is all I got from this video. The truth is that white people actually do have a whole lot of work to do, especially with their families. Because I remember there was a time I posted a video where a white woman was saying that, she needs to do this anti-black. She was asking black people, how do I come in as a white woman who is trying to deconstruct to be a voice or to amplify black voices, right? And she was told to go and, to start talking about black people, like black history in her own words, like, talking about what they did to black people. So she was like, yeah, I actually would love to do this work, but I do not want my families to know that I am doing it. I do not also want my friends to know that I am doing it. Excuse me. So she said that she is going to open a new account and then block all her friends and families so they won't see her videos. And I am like, madam, you are a liar. You are a liar. You are not doing any job if that is how you want to do this job. Do you know how many of your family members that are racist towards people that look like me? First of all, if you are going to start the job, deconstructing and all that, anti-racism, anti-blackness or anti-racism, whatever job you need to do, you have to start with your family and friends. That is how you are going to start it. Start with your family and friends, because your brothers, your parents, all of them around you have disgusting mindset as you actually have. Or you had. I don't want to even like you had. And I also feel like she was trying to do that just to please. Because if you want to do this kind of job, you don't need to start asking that or start telling people that you are going to block them so they won't see. Are you serious? So who are you going to preach to? Who are you going to speak to? Who are you going to talk to if you do not start with your immediate family? Because most times they are the problem. And you want to fly over them. You are not ready for this job. So for this woman that is asking, or that is saying, how do I, that she knows that she is not doing enough, but how would she do more? Or being able to convince the conservative father, like MAGA father, because majority of them, I don't even know what, but all their family members are just the same, MAGA, conservative. So you have to work hard to read, to be able to talk about black people, because you cannot just wake up and want to talk about what are you talking about, colonialism, what are you talking about when it comes to racism, where are you focusing on? Is it the redlining? Are you going to talk about the police brutality or the job discrimination? Which one are you focusing on? Because if you do not know all this, or you want to tell him about Wall Street that was burned down and all that, you have to be able to know all this in order to try, because you can't convince someone that you don't know what you are trying to convince. You must be grounded, right? When it comes to black history, before or being able to try to convince someone else that, systemic racism is a thing. What do you have to tell the person about systemic racism? Right? So this is what I think. But one thing I know is that I don't know why, I don't know, but sometimes each time I look at these people, like, being right to the sister, what people that look like me, I am like, what are they gaining? Because some things does not actually make any sense to me. Sincerely speaking, some things doesn't make any sense. Why am I saying? I'm saying this because, like, why do I want to stop someone that I don't even know from probably getting something that she is supposed to get? Just like the way you are, maybe because you are going to get reparations, and I am going to go somewhere to tell them not to pay reparations when I don't even know you. Like, why do I don't know you in person? Or it's just like waking up today to go and tell maybe why people are supposed to, like, get, if they deserve that. It really does not make any sense. Or just wake up, you want to be ready to this, like, for no reason. The life is, I don't know, it's a little bit, the whole thing is just complicated. Why? Because they make it complicated. Life isn't kind of easy, or life should actually be easy, and all these things. The Black Fat Matters said that the lies that they tell you that everybody can survive. If you I remember somebody asking a black person, what is it that you can do, you cannot do that a white person can do? When they try to ask you this kind of question to put you on the spot, when they know real good that they are the person that will set a job and still tell you that the job is already taken because they feel like you do not have the not the quality, the features, or maybe your hair is going to be you can imagine that kind of story. Have I even told you people about? Yeah, I have said this story several times here about a young black man. I said last 2 years, a young black man, very handsome black man, went for a job interview. He has his hair, had the interview, and when he finished, they told him that he passed, but that there is something. Excuse me. He was like, what is it? They said, that we may not hire you because of your hair. Because of your hair, that it might be a distraction for people. But then he looked around, he saw white people. I mean, if he had been accepted, I mean, his colleagues had hair. So the things they do to people that look like me, they don't do it to their own people. It's just like telling a white man that keeps hair to go and cut his hair. You rarely hear something like this, but they will tell look a black man dead in the face and tell you that, your hair is a little bit of that. Can you go cut it? Bye for now.